You're probably like most people who want a life filled with happiness, adventure, and opportunity. We all want to enjoy our retirement years surrounded by those we love and doing the things we enjoy. And during the journey toward retirement, we also want peace of mind knowing we're on the right path. But there's a problem. Big institutions have eroded the possibility of that dream ever coming true. Stock market risk and burdensome taxes during retirement have created a retirement crisis that has affected the majority of Americans and has probably affected those close to you. Forbes tells us that we're on the precipice of the greatest retirement crisis in the history of the world. Too frail to work, too broke to retire will be the new normal for many elderly Americans. So with a world of information at our fingertips, why is it we keep doing the same thing that caused the problem in the first place? Put your money in a qualified retirement plan like a 401k and hope everything will work out. That message is everywhere we look.
So, what does it take to have $1 million in your 401k? How do you get there?
Pre-tax dollars for retirement. That's a tremendous gift from the government.
Investors report the most valued feature of their 401k is the match contributions.
You have a 401k in your company before we talk about anything, because that's free money.
Yet the crisis continues. Time magazine weighed in on the subject, calling the 401k a lousy idea and a financial flop. Many other news outlets share that same shocking information, proving that the retirement path most Americans have been following simply isn't working. Do you remember the crash just 10 short years ago? I sure do. Remember how horrible people felt as their retirement savings evaporated? Many of them are forced to continue working today instead of enjoying their retirement years. I'm sure this guy never thought he'd be spending his golden years in this fashion. Like most people, he followed conventional wisdom, and yet, rather than building a secure future for himself and his family, he finds himself struggling to make ends meet and worries about becoming a burden to them. Nobody should have to feel hopeless during retirement. I was like most Americans, putting my savings into a 401k and crossing my fingers that everything would work out when I reached 65. When I looked around at my family and friends, most of them were not winning financially either, but I didn't know what else to do. Some people know the keys to financial independence and take a different path. They have learned that to achieve different results, you have to do something different. Now, my course has been corrected. My confidence for the future has returned, and I'm on the path to financial independence. For decades, large banks, corporations, and the well-informed have been utilizing tax-free and risk-free principles to grow enormous amounts of wealth. But it's not just a plan for the affluent. We can take advantage of this asset class as well. By learning a few key concepts and taking the small steps necessary, you can ensure your retirement goals are reached. We've all heard it said you must take big risks in order to have big rewards. But what if you could earn stock market-like returns without any market risk at all? Indexing is a powerful strategy to avoid market risk by participating in the gains of the market, but not suffering any of the losses during the bad years. Think about it. Your account will never lose money no matter what the stock market does. Let me show you a quick example. We'll compare an account that is invested directly in the market to one that is indexed. The hallmark of indexing is its ability to eliminate all market risk by implementing a 0% floor so it doesn't lose money even when the market goes down. When the market goes up, the indexed account captures the gains up to the cap, in this example, 12%. Another year of market loss means the indexed account is shielded from that loss because of the 0% floor. In essence, you sit out the bad years. If the market increases 8%, you achieve all 8% because you haven't hit the cap of 12%. Another bad year, you guessed it, you don't lose any money. By avoiding losses, you are never playing catch-up. Here's the actual performance of the S&P 500 since the year 2000 if $100,000 was invested. Now look at the difference in the account balance if we just apply the floor and cap strategy. The difference is staggering. Indexing is the key to tremendous growth without market risk. Conventional wisdom promotes the idea of an average rate of return. Let me show you why that number is almost meaningless. Understanding the difference between the average and actual rate of return could be the difference between living the life you always dream of or barely making ends meet. For example, if we have $10,000 and earn 100% return the first year, we end up with $20,000. Then we have a 50% loss, another 100% gain, followed by another 50% loss. Average return is calculated by adding up the losses and gains and dividing by the number of years. In this case, 25%, which sounds great, doesn't it? But wait a minute. We started with $10,000 and we ended up with $10,000. So what's our actual return? Well, we didn't make any money at all, so our actual return is zero. Now, can you see how average rate of return is almost meaningless and why a broker could say you averaged a 12% return, but your actual statement shows something quite different? Have you ever considered it may not be the size of the nest egg that matters the most, but rather the cash flow that nest egg can generate? Most brokers concentrate on building that nest egg as large as they can. After all, that's how they get paid, right? But that large nest egg, is it all yours? Remember, you haven't paid taxes on that nest egg, so a lot of it belongs to the IRS, and they get to decide how much they keep by determining your tax rates. Because the vast majority of people who save for retirement save inside pre-tax plans such as 401ks and IRAs, they have deferred their taxes, believing they will pay less tax in retirement. So here's a question. In the future, do you believe taxes will go up, go down, or stay the same? We all might have our own opinion on that, but the Congressional Budget Office has already answered that question for us. Not only do they say taxes must go up, but they must go up substantially. They did a study based on the government's current debt situation, which concluded that with no changes to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, the lowest tax bracket would have to increase by 2.5 times in order to sustain those programs. Here's the really bad news. They also said that the 25% bracket would rise to 63%, and the highest bracket, 39.6%, would need to rise to 88%. Can you imagine 88% of your nest egg going to the IRS in taxes? That's a risk I'm not willing to take with my life savings. Now let's see the difference these strategies make using real-world numbers. Here, John takes the conventional approach which most people use by starting a 401k or an IRA. Starting at age 30, John saves $8,000 per year until he is 65. With this comparison tool, we can fast forward in time to see how much money John will have at retirement using compounding interest and paying the management fees. Not a bad balance. But remember, isn't cash flow more important than the nest egg? As we move the slider, look what happens. John runs out of money at age 75. He saved his hard-earned money for 35 years, and it only lasted him 10 years. These numbers are the harsh reality most Americans are faced with at retirement. They're left with a choice. Do I live on half the money so it doesn't run out as fast? Or do I go back to work and bag groceries? Gone are their hopes of a life filled with moments like attending their grandchildren's school plays or holiday gatherings with extended family far away. So what's the answer? Well, let's look at what happens with this strategy and how it can help you achieve the retirement goals you hope for. You'll notice that the amount John contributes is less than with the 401k because John has already paid the taxes to get them out of the way. As we drag the slider to age 64, the 401k balance is larger, but there is a problem. John doesn't own all the money in the 401k account. Here's the amount of deferred taxes John will pay to the IRS over his lifetime, and we didn't even account for the inevitable tax increase most economists are predicting. At age 65, John starts his retirement. Needing about $70,000 to live on, he pulls out just under $98,000 because guess what? He has a tax bill of almost $25,000 every single year. But with this strategy, he only has to take out $73,000 because the taxes have already been paid. Remember, the 401k runs out at age 75. But with this strategy, the balance continues to provide tax-free income for life. Here's how. This strategy uses specific IRS-sanctioned tax advantages only given to properly structured life insurance vehicles, which gives John access to his money without taxation. This is accomplished by borrowing money from the insurance company and using John's life insurance coverage as collateral. John's savings account is never touched, therefore it continues to grow. The loan from the insurance company gets paid back when John passes away, and the remaining balance goes to his heirs tax-free. This strategy and asset class has been utilized by the affluent for decades to create tax-free income, avoid market losses, and to pass on major amounts of tax-free wealth to their heirs. If we move the slider to age 85, look how much more money John has enjoyed during his retirement than if he had chosen the conventional 401k approach. And if he passed away at that point, his heirs would receive a tax-free death benefit of $388,000. At age 95, John and his family have received $2.2 million during his retirement, and if he passes away at this point, his family inherits $113,000 tax-free. It avoids market losses, which gives peace of mind. The growth in the plan is tax-free, and it provides tax-free income as long as you live. If this information has begun to transform your thinking, the next step is simple. Click on the Savings Snapshot button, answer a few questions, and see what your personalized tax-free, risk-free plan looks like. Or you can get with the person that brought you to this video for more details. Do you really want to continue down a path leading to retirement that could end with disappointment? You need to get this right. You don't have to be in the too frail to work and too broke to retire crowd. You owe it to yourself and your loved ones to at least give it a look. You deserve to enjoy your family and friends during your retirement years, to have the financial resources to make wonderful memories, and to create a family legacy you're proud of that will be remembered for generations. We can help you get there. Take the next step by filling out a savings snapshot and begin working toward the retirement you've always dreamed of.